Will the Senate please come to order? This being the day prescribed by Article 3, Section 14 of the Constitution of the State of Maryland for the meeting of the General Assembly, I now call the Senate of Maryland to order. Today's invocation will be given by Reverend Amin Flowers of Life Church Ministries in Brooklyn, Maryland, guest of Senator Ferguson. Please rise for the invocation.
Good morning. Let us pray. I know my plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, a plan to give you a hope and a future. We are blessed this morning to come together on this wonderful Wednesday to celebrate the confirmation of new leadership and the renewing of others. As you spoke to the prophet Micah in the 8th century, what do you require of us but to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with the holy? We pray this day for a strong state, a gracious governor, a compassionate controller, dedicated delegates, a steadfast Senate, and an AG aware of all. We pray for all of our leaders and those vested in our great state. We ask for wisdom to lead, guidance to govern. We ask for advisors to aid, peace over war, love over hate, resource over scarcity, education over ignorance, unity over strife, and faith over fear. In the name of the matchless, marvelous, majestic, magnificent, magnanimous, and merciful Creator we pray. We say, Amen.
The prayer will be journalized. Will the clerk please call the roll by district?
District 1, Mike McKay. District 2, Paul D. Quarterman. District 3, Karen Lewis Young. District 4, William Folden. District 5, Justin Reedy. District 6, Johnny Ray Salling. District 7, J.B. Jennings. District 8, Catherine Klossmeyer. District 9, Katie Fry Hester. District 10, Ben Brooks. District 11, Shelley Hedelman. District 12, Clarence K. Lamb. District 13, Guy Gazzone. District 14, Craig J. Zucker. District 15, Brian J. Feldman. District 16, Susan C. Lee. District 17, Cheryl C. Kagan. District 18, Jeff Waldstreicher. District 19, Benjamin F. Kramer. District 20, William C. Smith, Jr. District 21, Jim Rosapep. District 22, vacant. District 23, Ron Watson. District 24, Joanne C. Benson. District 25, Melanie Griffith. District 26, C. Anthony Muse. District 27, Michael A. Jackson. District 28, Arthur Ellis. District 29, Jack Bailey. District 30, Sarah K. Elfrith. District 31, Brian Simonaire. District 32, Pamela Beidel. District 33, Dawn D. Guile. District 34, Mary Delaney James. District 35, Jason Gallion. District 36, Stephen S. Hershey, Jr. District 37, Johnny Moutz. District 38, Mary Beth Carroza. District 39, Nancy J. King. District 40, Antonio Hayes. District 41, Jill P. Carter. District 42, Chris West. District 43, Mary Washington. District 44, Charles E. Sidnor III. District 45, Corey V. McCrae. District 46, William C. Ferguson IV. District 47, Malcolm Augustine.
46 senators having answered to their names, a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland 2023 is now in session and ready for the transaction of business. The first order of business will be the swearing in of the 46 senators. Will all senators please rise, raise your right hand, and repeat after me? I state your name. Do swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Senator according to the Constitution and laws of this state, and that I will not directly or indirectly receive the profits or any part of the profits of any other office during the term of my acting as senator. Congratulations. The senators will now come forward by district to sign the official test book and receive their commissions. We will call you up in groups of 10. Will the senators from the 46th district, the 47th district, the 39th district, and the 36th district please come forward?
All right, at this point, we are going to get through this as quickly as we can. We're going to make it work. All right, we're going to start with districts 1 through 10, and we'll start on this side. So senators representing districts 1 through 10, if you could line up on this side, you'll come up, receive your commission, your pin, we'll take a picture, and we will sign the book. Sound good? Let's do it. All right, I'll park them right here. If we have any guests that arrive, just so senators know, we'll stop for a moment and let them say hello if we have the governor come by.
Will districts 11 through 20 please step forward? Will districts 21 through 30 please step forward?
So we are halfway through, we're almost there.
Will districts 31 through 40 please step forward? Will districts 31 through 40 please step forward? Will districts 41 through 47 please step forward?
The next order of business is the election of a temporary presiding officer. Are there any nominations? The chair recognizes the senator from the 25th District, Senator Griffith.
Thank you. Permission to use senators' names.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, colleagues. For the past 3 years, it has been one of my greatest honors in my lifetime to have served as the President Pro Tem alongside a dear friend and colleague who's probably one of the smartest, hardest working people in the state of Maryland, our President Bill Ferguson. And so when the opportunity presented to nominate a new President Pro Tem, I kind of had a little sense of what he was looking for. And so I am delighted today to nominate for the office of President Pro Tem another dear friend and colleague, the senator from District 47 in Prince George's County, Senator Malcolm Augustine. Now, I know everyone in this chamber knows that Senator Augustine brought with him to this chamber an incredible academic background, but he also brought a great history of service to the community. He is dedicated to his constituents and works very hard in this chamber to make all of us look good. He's been very supportive, he puts in the work, and he's traveled across this state learning the issues that matter to each of us. He has indicated through his efforts, not just his words, but through his actions, that he is generous with his time and his talent. He's been a true public servant that has offered partnership. While he may not agree with each one of us on every issue, because of his subject matter expertise and his desire to be a true public servant, he seeks compromise when working on issues with each of us. And so when I combine subject matter expertise, professional achievements, hard work, compassion for community, and love of family, I have to again nominate Senator Malcolm Augustine for President Pro Tem of the Maryland State Senate.
Is there a second to the nomination?
Madam Clerk.
The chair recognizes the senator from the 43rd District.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Members of the Senate, it's a privilege to second the nomination. Permission to use the senator's name?
You may.
Malcolm Augustine for Senate President Pro Tem. The ability to serve in this position is one of the highest honors that we can extend to a senator and that we can extend as the Maryland Senate. Senator Augustine has spent 4 years, his first 4 years in this chamber, serving his constituents, getting to know how things work in Annapolis, and getting to know us. And we've been getting to know and trust him. Personally, I've come to enjoy his sincere, responsive, and friendly demeanor. The senator is cordial, he's perfectly pleasant, and not prone to excessive emotion, except the intensity of when he grabs his mic and is speaking on an issue that he cares about, and he has a boisterous laugh. Malcolm Augustine loves life and is a joy to be around. But do not ever confuse this with him being a pushover. In fact, in the words of my late mother, he may laugh and joke, but the senator does not play. Senator Augustine does not play when it comes to the people of the 47th District. He does not play when it comes to children's health programs and social services. He does not play about screening our young adults and children for adverse childhood experiences. He does not play when it comes to the expansion of behavioral health and wellness services. And he doesn't play when it comes to equitable, inclusive transit development. He also does not play when it comes to the Maryland Senate and the health and well-being of its president, of all its members, and our families. He also doesn't play when it comes to the people of Maryland. So for these and so many other reasons, I look forward to the acceptance of his nomination. Thank you.
Are there any further nominations? Chair hearing none, the nominations are closed. The clerk will call the roll.
Madam Secretary?
Have all the senators voted?
Madam Clerk, if the, could be marked in the affirmative, please.
We will do that. The clerk will take the call. The Honorable Malcolm Augustine from the 47th District is elected as the President Pro Tem. Will the majority whip and the minority whip kindly escort the President Pro Tem to the rostrum? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Actually, before do we leave?
Yeah, you are.
I will now administer the oath of office. I state your name.
I, Malcolm Augustine,
Do swear that I will support
do swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland
and support the Constitution and the laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of President Pro Tem
execute the office of President Pro Tem
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
and that I will not directly or indirectly
and that I will not directly or indirectly
receive the profits or any part of the profits
receive the profits or any part of the profits
of any other office during the term
of any other office during the term
of my acting as President Pro Tem.
of my acting as President Pro Tem.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon. We got to turn the mic on, of course. What an exciting day. And I am just really excited and really so honored to be here. I want to start by just saying thank you to the senators for your vote. We are in the business of getting votes, and so I am so very grateful and humbled to have your vote. To the visitors who are here and with us today, I will share with you, and you've heard it already a little bit, that we have a rule here in the Senate that we do not use our colleagues' names when addressing them on the floor. In the body, we work to prevent the dysfunction and personal threatening attacks like we've recently seen at the federal level. Our rules seek to ensure that the perspectives of the districts we represent are clearly heard and valued without personal prejudice as we do our collective work. So don't be alarmed when I don't say the senators' names. First, I want to say thank you to the senator from the 25th District, my fellow Prince Georgian, the chair of finance, for the kind words of nomination and for providing a roadmap of excellence in executing this office for me to follow. Second, I want to say thank you to a senator from Baltimore City and Baltimore County from the 43rd District. For the second, for your kind words and mentorship. I also want to say thank you to our leader, the senator from the 46th District, Baltimore City, our president, who recommended me for this position in support of his ongoing outstanding stewardship of the Maryland Senate. Our president is an inclusive leader who is committed to best practice policy and budgetary decision-making on behalf of all Marylanders, and I am honored and super excited to be a part of the team. I also want to say thank you to my family, who, like all of your senators, sacrificed much in service to our state. With us today are my wife, Lauren, and can we give her a round? Because that's my wife. Thank you. We're also joined by our girls, Grace and Brooke. My dad, Matthew Augustine, is here. And my brother Kay and sister-in-law Erica, who are in the balcony, are here. And their children, my niece Violet and my cousin, and my nephew Blake. And my aunt and uncle Pat, Aunt Pat, and Uncle Ira. I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here and always being so supportive of my public service. And of course, as you've already heard, I must thank my dear neighbors from Legislative District 47. Without their trust, through their vote, I would not be in this chamber, and I'm humbled and honored. We take and hear the oath often as servants to the state of Maryland. But as I reflected on the content, I think it's worthwhile to repeat the requirement to always work to the best of our ability, diligently, faithfully, without partiality or prejudice. My commitment to you, my dear colleagues, and to the people of the state of Maryland who have entrusted in us their lives, literally, and a significant amount of their treasure for our collective good, is that every day I will do my best to uphold our oath, and that I will do all that I can to support you in your effort to do the same for our dear Maryland. Thank you. The next order of business is the election of the President of the Senate. We are ready to hear nominations. Do we have any nominations? The chair recognizes the senator from the 15th District.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem, and consistent with your earlier admonition, permission to use the senator's name.
Permission granted.
Let me just say that it is a true honor to nominate Senator Bill Ferguson from the 46th District, Legislative District of Baltimore City, to continue to serve in the role of Senate President for the next session. I do not believe this is going to take 15 ballots to push him over the finish line, but in terms of assessing the qualities about who should serve in that role, that very, very important role, I think the focus should be on the qualities that are important to do the job of Senate President effectively and successfully. So let me briefly focus on two things, very narrow. First, it's important, critical that the person be smart. IQ smart with policy chops, no doubt, but also politically smart, as well as possesses emotional intelligence, human relations smart, since one of the main jobs of being Senate President is to play Senate psychologist to 46 other senators, and not a random sample of the population can be a very tough group to manage. So that is number one. And number two, someone who is self-confident and tough. when necessary. Doesn't get easily rattled, keeps his composure when the situation is frenzied, and has the potential to spiral out of control. So let me go through those two qualities. In Bill Ferguson, we have somebody who's demonstrated that he possesses both of them. On the multifaceted SMART test, magna cum laude graduate of our University of Maryland Law School, and for anybody who has talked to Bill Ferguson on policy, he knows what's going on policy-wise, knows what's going on politically, and knows what's going on personally with our members in every other way. Specifically on that second point on self-confidence and toughness test, we are talking about somebody who is the youngest senator ever elected in our state, beat long odds to get there in the first place in his 20s, and long odds again to become Senate president. But far, far more importantly, this past 4 years, after becoming Senate president, Bill Ferguson from the 46th District faced a combination of difficult circumstances that few, if any, Senate presidents have ever faced in Maryland history. We were faced with a global pandemic that could have totally created chaos and brought the Senate chamber operations to a complete halt. He was not rattled, did not fall apart. He instead methodically put in place protocols that allowed us to not just operate safely, but to pass landmark legislation during that tough period. And lastly, let me just say in sports, no one ever wants to follow a Hall of Fame or iconic player or coach because they are inevitably compared to their predecessor. In this case, President Ferguson succeeded the longest-serving Senate president in the United States in U.S. history and faced the inevitable question almost every day of what would our former Senate president have done under any given issue or any given situation. He embraced that challenge, has charted his own path successfully, has now put together his own team for the new term, and no one is asking any longer what the former Senate president would have done. They are asking, what does Bill think? And that is a testament how he has guided this chamber since becoming Senate president. So, Mr. President Pro Tem, for all those reasons and more, Bill Ferguson has what it takes, and I enthusiastically nominate him to serve as the Senate president for this next session. Thank you, sir.
Is there a second to the nomination? The chair recognizes the senator from the 27th District.
Thank you, Mr. President Pro Tem, and permission to use the name of the senator.
Permission granted.
Thank you. Members of the Senate of Maryland, it's my honor to second the motion for Senator Bill Ferguson from the District 46 in Baltimore City. 2 years ago, members and family members, I had the honor of being sworn in as an appointed member of this body. We were right in the midst of COVID. The principles and the traits of a leader, although some of us are placed in positions that call for us to be leaders, is measured up when we are in a challenging posture. In the middle of COVID, our leader, a senator from District 46, ensured that the Senate of Maryland, your Senate of Maryland, met here in this chamber and in Annapolis every day. Your Senate never took off. Our leader ensured that each and every one of us had the confidence not only within ourselves but also for our families, many of whom you see here today with us, that it would be safe enough for us to conduct the business that we are charged with to ensure that the 7 million citizens that we represent in the state of Maryland, that their needs are met. That came from our leader. A shepherd thinks not of himself or herself. The shepherd thinks of ensuring that those they serve. True leaders understand that the higher you are on that rung of leadership, the more people you serve, not the people who serve you. I am honored today to second this nomination for permission to use the senator's name, Bill Ferguson, to continue as our leader to ensure that we move to the next era of this cycle of service to the citizens of the state of Maryland. Thank you very much.
Are there any further nominations? The chair, hearing none, the nominations are closed. The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President Pro Tem,
Can you get my vote? Yeah. Thank you. All right. Have all the senators voted? If so, the clerk will take the call. There being 46 votes in the affirmative, the Honorable William C. Ferguson IV is elected as permanent presiding officer. Congratulations. As Senator Ferguson is making his way forward, will the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader kindly escort the President to the rostrum? It's very crowded. Yeah. Yeah. He's all set. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Good. Congratulations, sir. I will now administer the oath of office. You guys want to switch?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Positions?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
We just get
totally.
it. We just get
totally.
it. All right. I state
We're
your
great
name.
running the,
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Okay. Very good. All right. I state your name.
I, William C. Ferguson IV,
Do swear that I will support
do swear that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States,
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution and laws thereof,
and support the Constitution and the Constitution and laws thereof,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
to the best of my skill and judgment,
diligently and faithfully,
diligently and faithfully,
without partiality or prejudice,
without partiality or prejudice,
execute the office of President
execute the office of President
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
and that I will not directly or indirectly
and that I will not directly or indirectly
receive the profits or any part of the profits
receive the profits or any part of the profits
of any other office during the term
of any other office during the term
of my acting as President.
as my acting as President.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great stuff.
All right. Good afternoon. We've got a crowded chamber in here today, huh? We're back. We're back. It's pretty amazing. First time in 3 years. This is what it should feel like. This is it. I am so thrilled to be joined here today by so many incredible individuals. I assure you, I'm going to make sure that everybody gets introduced, but I do want to take a quick moment to start by just sort of setting the tone of where we are. And I think where we are is not just a state, but as a people in this interesting moment in time. I do, of course, first have to say thank you to each and every member. This is the highest honor I've ever been granted in my entire life, and I do not take lightly the responsibility that each and every one of you has placed in me to help us lead together as one. This is a chamber where cohesion and consensus are core. It is fundamentally who we are, and it is the identity of this institution, and I thank each and every one of you for bestowing this honor to be able to continue to lead with you. Of course, I want to thank both senators from the 15th and 27th districts for their very kind and thoughtful remarks. These are two incredible leaders in their own right who are moving in their leadership capacities in the Senate, and I am so incredibly thrilled to see what happens in the year ahead with the work of these two incredible leaders. Of course, thank you and congratulations to our new Senate President Pro Tem. I want to thank the body for electing such a phenomenal leader. As you all have seen, his leadership is unquestionable, and what is very obvious to me is that he will excel as not just a cohesion convener, someone that will bring cohesion to the body. He's somebody that's a consensus builder, that will find ways to make sure that we solve these complex problems together. I, of course, also want to thank my incredible wife. When we asked our children if they wanted to come, they said no. So good for them, right? But there is no way I could ever do this without you, and thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll be brief, I assure you, but it is important to just take a quick second to set the tone of where I think we are. Of course, every session, the start of every session is special in its own right, but there's a real power behind this particular 445th session of the General Assembly here in the year of 2023. It's setting itself apart already. This power distinguishes a moment in time that does not come around very often. It's a moment that matters because in this moment, we're setting down a path that impacts not just this year, but the next decade ahead. When a new Maryland senator takes the oath of office, they are asked to sign the book, as you all saw earlier today. That book is filled with all of the senators who have once signed before them. At the beginning of a new term, the 47 Marylanders, chosen to be the voice of their communities in Annapolis for the next 4 years, literally turn the page and begin a new chapter in Maryland's history. As we turn a page on where we've been, it's glaringly obvious that we are turning the page from our experiences with the COVID-19 pandemic that upended the status quo and redefined Marylanders' needs. This is the first session since the COVID-19 pandemic in which regular order is resuming. But the Senate is not returning to the status quo. In fact, it is modernizing, improving our previous processes, and expanding access so that people sitting in this chamber can have the single greatest impact this year for their constituents. We're also turning the page on a campaign season that brought each of us here. There were times where our campaigns were hard, where the differences between candidates were very real, and where we highlighted those differences, and where visions and aspirations about what the future looked like may be slightly different. But now we turn a page towards governance. We turn towards consensus and compromise, and we must solve problems for Marylanders. We have to turn our attention to the mother in Upper Marlboro who wants to go back to work but just cannot find affordable childcare. We turn our attention to the farmer in Dorchester who's facing an unpredictable harvest because of changing climates and workforce shortages. We turn our attention to the residents in Sandtown who want a job maybe at Trade Point Atlantic, but who can't find a way to get there under 90 minutes or 3 separate buses. The teenager in Carroll County who's struggling to cope with the emotional trauma of the pandemic, but just doesn't know where to turn. The business owner in Columbia who made it through the pandemic, but right now, today, this morning, has concerns about their own competitiveness and ability to grow. To the grandmother in Waldorf who suffered greatly from isolation over these last 2 years and is reassessing her budget to deal with inflation and the cost of prescription drugs. To the recent graduate in Western Maryland who wants to raise her family in Hagerstown, but isn't sure that she has the skills to match the jobs that are cropping up in her area. And to the nurse in Montgomery County who isn't sure how much longer she can go after pushing through these last 2 years, barely, in a health system that has been stretched to the limit. Mr. Minority Leader, Madam Majority Leader, these are not Democratic problems, nor Republican problems. They're not green problems, they're not libertarian problems, they're not even the problems of the disinvested or unengaged. These are Maryland problems that exist in each and every one of our districts in some fashion or form. And the truth of today is that the path to resolving these Marylanders' challenges will come from the individuals in this room who have been charged by their constituents to shape the future. Just as signing that book is the literal imprint on our state's history, on this bedrock institution, our chamber, together with a new administration and the chamber across the hall, will chart a new course that is responsive to the needs of Marylanders following what is admittedly generational trauma. To the esteemed senators who have served in this body in the past, I say thank you. Thank you for your commitment to the history, the legacy, and the understanding of the great role that this institution plays in shaping Maryland history. To our new colleagues, senators joining us from across the hall or otherwise, I say welcome. You have joined a very, very special institution. I have no doubt that when you look around to these incredible leaders who sit next to you, that you will uphold the same ideals and rich legacy of this chamber in all of the work that you will aspire to do over this next year. Finally, to the family members and supporters who are joining us here today, know that you are part of this journey too, every single day. We could not do this crucial work without you. I know I speak for every member of this chamber when I say that we appreciate your commitment and can never say enough just how much we know you sacrifice to allow us to be able to do this work. Senators, it's time to turn the page and write a new chapter in Maryland's history. Let's get to work. Off we go. All right, we are so fortunate to be joined by incredible, incredible leaders from across the state of Maryland. I'm going to do my best here to make sure that I capture everyone. So if I do not capture someone, Sally is going to help me, and we're going to make it work because each and every this work is about partnership, and we can never thank you all sufficiently for the partnership ahead. First, let's begin with our new governor-elect and lieutenant governor-elect, Wes Moore and Aruna Miller, who are going to be sworn in next week. We're going to have some fun. We have has had a long week after a productive. Okay, I don't want to get too much into it, but if you think about the last Congress and what was able to get done, some of the legislating, the CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, all of these things of investments that are coming, would not happen with the leadership with our federal delegation. U.S. Senator Ben Cardin has been an absolute champion for the state of Maryland, and we're so thrilled he could be here with us today. We have a number of wonderful county executives here. We are joined by the Baltimore County Executive, John Yoshevsky. We have Anne Arundel County Executive, our home county of the capital city here, is County Executive Stuart Pittman. We also have Howard County County Executive, Calvin Ball. We are joined by the new Frederick County Executive, Jessica Fitzwater. Down to the D.C. region, we have the Prince George's County Executive, Angela Alsobrooks. We have the Montgomery County Executive, Mark Elrich. And from my own wonderful, incredible city, the city of Baltimore, Mayor Brandon Scott. We are also joined by the brand new, and welcome, congratulations, Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates. We have the mayor of this capital city, who has been incredibly welcoming to all the new members who are coming, Gavin Buckley. And we are joined, I believe, still by, we also have the outgoing Secretary of State, John Wobensmith. I can see it. We have the brand new, already sworn in, Attorney General Anthony Brown. Welcome, welcome. To my still delegate for just a few more days, next Comptroller of the State of Maryland, Brooke Learman. Did I miss anyone? Oh, yes, of course. From the wonderful, oh my gosh, Wacomico County. It is wonderful to have our county executive from Wacomico County. Welcome. Fair enough. Well, you're always welcome. We love Wacomico County. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do we have any others? Any others? Any others that we missed? No? All right. If not, thank you all for being. You are more than welcome to see us transpire business. It's the joys of the Senate. Although I know you are very busy, so if you would like to potentially move along, feel more than free. Now would be the appropriate time to move along. Welcome. Thank you. We look forward to working with each and every one of you. So the first year I did this, I called the Lieutenant Governor Boyd, and he will never let me live it down because I just could not. My brain was so it's always once you start trying to announce to folks, there's always the mishap. So appreciate the indulgence of making it happen. All right, onwards we go, Senators. The first order of business today is the order of organization. The clerk will read the first order.
By the Majority Leader, resolved that the following desk officers be and are hereby elected to serve during the legislative session of 2023. Secretary of the Senate, Nicole M. Alexander. Assistant Secretary, Veronica Blair. Assistant Secretary, Caitlin E. Sanders. Journal Clerk, Dorothy D. Cheney. Reading Clerk, Andrea C. Jones. Proceedings Clerk, Nicholas D. Garrett. And Chief Page, Rochelle Thompson.
Please, yes, our incredible folks in the Secretary of Senate's office do incredible work. The clerk will call the roll on the confirmation of the desk officers for the 2023 session.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. The desk officers are unanimously approved for the 2023 session. The clerk will read the next order.
By the Majority Leader, ordered by the Senate of Maryland that for the legislative session of 2023, the Senate adopts the rules as in effect at the end of the legislative session of 2022, including amendments to Rule 18 as well as new Rule 5A and new Rule 52A, but with the exception of Rule 116.
All right, Senators, this one's going to take a bit of an explanation here. What's before the body right now are the rules from the prior session with three revisions. The first revision permits the pro forma session to exist outside of the emergency. The second revision has to do with the new budgetary powers of the legislature that has three conditions. If a floor amendment on the budget is introduced, it must be a balanced budget amendment. So it must, if money goes in, money must come out, but it can't come from an entitlement program, our pension system, or a required contribution, debt service. The third provision in the revision is the changing of the name of the committee, which was Education, Health, Environmental Affairs, to now the Committee on Education, Energy, and the Environment. So those are the three amendments. Before we vote, we'd ask if we could recognize the chair of the Rules Committee.
Thank you. I move to special order Senate Rule 116 until January the 25th, 2023.
All right, the Senator has probably moved to special order the consideration of Rule 116. Are there any objections to the Senator's motion? Without objection, Rule 116 will be special ordered to the appropriate time on January 25th. The question now before the body are the amended rules absent Rule 116. Any questions or any discussion?
Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the Minority Whip.
I know we discussed this offline. We did have a question come up about the rule relative to operating budget amendments. If you're proposing an amendment that's simply a reduction, is the 24-hour rule apply? And if that was the question, is why we would need to do that. I understand you want to make sure if it's a addition and subtraction you want it to work. I don't know if you could respond to that, which is the question we had.
So let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to adjust a bit on the fly. Are we able to hold on the? So we're going to hold on the revisions, to the budget. If we can separate, would the senator be interested in making a motion to consider the budget amendments separately?
Yeah. Mr. President, I think that's an excellent suggestion. I make a motion that we separate the 52A operating budget amendments and separate that and perhaps special order that till tomorrow. Is that? Or?
Perfect. That works. Are there any objections to the senator's motion? This is the revision related specifically just for the budget amendments. Are there any objections? Without objection, Rule 52A, the revision to Rule 52A will be separated and special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With exception to 52A and 116, the rules are now adopted. The clerk will read the next order.
By the majority leader, ordered that the monies appropriated for the expense of this legislative session of 2023 as set forth in the appropriation bill be paid upon the joint order of the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Delegates. By order, Nicole M. Alexander, Secretary of the Senate.
All right, are there any objections? Any objections to the order? Without objection, the order is adopted. The clerk will read the next order.
By the majority leader, ordered that the President shall appoint the employees necessary for the proper transaction of the business of this legislative session of 2023 as provided for in the budget, this order to remain in effect until changed or modified by the Senate. By order, Nicole M. Alexander, Secretary of the Senate.
Are there any objections? Without objection, the order is adopted. The next order of business is an announcement by the President. The clerk will read the announcement.
The leadership announcement is on your desk.
Senators, this is the announcement of the majority party. Senators should have a copy on their desk. Are there any objections? Without objections, the announcement is ordered journalized. The clerk will read the next announcement.
The committee announcements are on your desk.
All right, this announcement is the committee assignments for the session. They should be available on senators' desks. Without objection, the announcement is journalized. The clerk will read the next announcement.
The Senate Minority Caucus met on November 28, 2022 for the purpose of electing the minority floor leaders for the 2023 legislative session. The following members have been selected. Minority Leader, the Honorable Stephen S. Hershey Jr., District 36. Minority Whip, the Honorable Justin Reedy, District 5.
All right, are there any objections? Without objection, the announcement is adopted. Chair recognizes the Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On behalf of the Republican caucus, we too would like to welcome everyone here on opening day. It is certainly an honor to have been elected Minority Leader of the Maryland Senate. I'm humbled by the trust and faith of my colleagues and have placed in me, and I look forward to working with the Minority Whip to foster two-party discussion and debate here in this chamber. At the end of the day, we are all here for the same reason: to represent our constituents to the best of our ability and to improve the lives of Marylanders across the state. Hopefully, there'll be many policy areas where we can seek common ground, but there will be others where we will passionately disagree. But that only makes us and the work that we provide better. We look forward to working with Governor-elect Moore, Lieutenant Governor-elect Miller,
Senate President, our new committee chairs, and of course all of you while we do the work of the people for the next 90 days. And finally, I'd like to thank Governor Hogan, Lieutenant Governor Rutherford, their administration for their tremendous leadership during his 2 terms. We are grateful for him for leaving Maryland in a stronger place than when he took office 8 years ago. Mr. President, I echo your words. Let's get to work.
Well said, Senator. Well said. All right. The clerk will read the message from the House of Delegates.
By the Majority Leader, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, the House of Delegates has organized by the election of the Honorable Adrian A. Jones, Speaker of the House. We respectfully propose, with your concurrence, the appointment of a joint committee of 4 members, 2 on the part of the House, 2 on the part of the Senate, to wait upon the governor and to inform him that the General Assembly is now organized and prepared to receive any communications he may desire to make. We have appointed on the part of the House of Delegates, Delegates Corman and Buckle. By order, Sylvia Siegert, Chief Clerk.
All right, the message is read and adopted. The clerk will now read a message to the executive.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House of Delegates, we have received your message notifying the Senate of the organization of your honorable body and requesting by the appointment of a joint committee to wait upon the governor to inform him that the General Assembly is now prepared to receive any communications which he may desire to make. We have appointed on the part of the Senate, Senators King and Hershey. The Senate has organized by the election of the Honorable William C. Ferguson IV as President. By order, Nicole M. Alexander.
The message is read and adopted. The clerk will now read a message to the executive.
By the Majority Leader, His Excellency, the Governor of Maryland, Lawrence J. Hogan, Jr., the Senate of Maryland is organized and prepared to receive any communication you may desire to make. The President of the Senate is the Honorable William C. Ferguson IV. By order, Nicole M. Alexander, Secretary of the Senate.
Message is read and adopted. The clerk will now read a message from the executive.
The Honorable William Ferguson, President of the Senate. Dear President Ferguson, in accordance with Article 2, Section 11 of the Constitution of Maryland, I am pleased to submit for confirmation by the Maryland State Senate appointments made during the 2022 recess of the General Assembly. I am confident you will find these individuals to be well qualified for their respective offices and deserving of your support for appointment confirmation. Sincerely, Lawrence J. Hogan, Jr., Governor.
All right, the names for executive appointment are going to be referred to the Committee on Executive Nominations. Senators, this is the current governor's recess appointments, which will be considered by the committee. All right, the next order of business is the introduction of bills. We are officially moving forward. The clerk will read the bills.
Introductory Senate Bill Calendar Number 1, Senate Bill 1, Senator Waldstreicher, Criminal Law, Wearing, Carrying, or Transporting Firearms Restrictions, Gun Safety Act of 2023, JPR. Senate Bill 2, Senator Hester, Department of Human Services, Electronic Benefit Transfer Cards, Fraud, Prevent Electronic Benefits Theft Act of 2023, Finance. Senate Bill 3, Senator Augustine, 988 Trust Fund Funding, Budget and Taxation. Senate Bill 4, Senator Ellis, Higher Education, the Senator Dolores G. Kelly Scholarship Program, Education, Energy, and the Environment. Senate Bill 5, Senator Kramer, Hate Crimes, Civil Remedy, Judicial Proceedings.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. The next order of business is we have another calendar of bills. Clerk will read the bills.
Calendar Number 2, Senate Bill 76, Senator Bailey, Income Tax Subtraction Modification, Public Safety, Budget and Taxation. Senate Bill 77.
Majority Leader moves so be considered the reading of the bills. The next order of business is announcements by committee chairs. Any announcements by our committee chairs or opening thoughts, welcome thoughts? No? We sure? All right. Okay, let's keep it going. All right. In that case, are there any discussion from the floor? If not, let's do a quorum call before we adjourn.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 45 senators present in the chamber, the Senate of Maryland remains in session. Senator from the 38th district, if we could just send a note to the county executive from Ocomico to follow up. I just want to apologize to her for Not recognizing her on the floor here, so please make sure that we can, 36, perfect, thank you. All right, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Yes, did you want to introduce the pages?
Yes, actually,
We'll do that first.
let's do that first before we close. Chair recognizes the Senator from the 33rd District.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'd like to welcome our student pages for the week. We first have Emma Belke from St. Mary's County, District 29, a student at St. Mary's Riken High School. Next, we have James Pearson III from Baltimore City, District 44, a student at Vivian T. Thomas Medical Arts Academy. Next, we have Zachary Schulman from Howard County, from District 3, a student at Glenelg Country School. And last, we have Taryn Schwartz from Montgomery County, District 14, a student at Sandy Spring Friends School. Thank you.
Well done, Senator, well done, on the first day,
Thank you.
All right, any further business before we adjourn? If not, Chair recognizes Senator recognizes the Senator from the 11th District.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'd like to introduce the Doctor of the Day,
Yes, please, Senator.
Dr. Deandra Asike. She is a veteran of the United States Air Force. She's an anesthesiologist and pain management physician at Johns Hopkins Hospital. She is also an advisory board member for the Maryland Prescription Drug Monitoring Program. She owns a consulting practice focused on the safe and effective use of cannabis for pain management, and she is a proud resident of Baltimore County's District 11. So, like colleagues, please, hope you don't need her today. I hope you have a quiet day, but we welcome you on our first day. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Doctor, for being here with us today. Any further business? Going once, going twice. If not, Chair recognizes the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until Thursday, January 12th at 10 a.m.
Without objection, so ordered. See you tomorrow.